I can remember having an experience of this probably first time around about the age of 5 or 6 years old. And this is where you would kind of go into like a really cold, uncomfortable leather chair, and you get these really horrendous glasses put in your head. And then it's usually a man or a woman will say, "So tell me, does this letter on the board look better like this or like this?" And you're trying to focus, and also you kind of want to get it right as well. So you say, "Yeah, left." And I said, "Right, okay, now does your vision look better like this or like this?" And you'll sit there for 20 minutes and you'll just respond to the same question about 20 different times. But what the optometrist is attempting to do is establish what lens he can or she can put in front of your eyes to help your vision become clarified. All right, if our eyes are not working, then we cannot see. And if we cannot see, then we're going to bump into things in life, and we're going to sometimes, if we're kind of walking through life blindly, we might end up in a place where we really don't want to be. So we understand the purpose of vision. All right, and on some level, we also understand how important it is that we get clarity in life. I don't know about you, but when I didn't have any clarity in terms of a sense of direction for my future, I was just really frustrated. I know some people get panicky, some people get stressed out, some people get really scared, some people end up really disempowered and sad and all that sort of thing. But for me, I just got frustrated, and we all handle having a lack of clarity in our lives differently. Frustration in life comes when we know there's something that we want, right? We fundamentally want something more than what we have, but we don't have either the vocabulary to communicate and articulate what it is that we want, or we don't have the vision. So what drives us in life? I am not a mind reader, all right? It may seem that I am, but I'm not. I understand that there are 3 primary keys to our motivation in life. Think about it. Now, some people will go through life and say, "I am motivated by money. I want more money, 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 money." Some people will say, "I want more success. I want more achievement. I want more results. I want more promotion. I want my name on the lights in Broadway. I want a bigger house. I want a faster car." And that's all fine. There's nothing wrong being motivated by those things, but a little bit superficial, a little bit shallow, materialistic. One thing I'm sure you have learned by now at this stage in your life is that you can have as much money and as many materialistic possessions as you want, but none of these things ever equate to fulfillment. But I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted here. All right, so we go through life driven. We know we're motivated. We know there's something that we want, but we're not always clear as to what it is that we do want. I want to propose, right, that even the wealthiest individuals in the world today have reached the place where they have reached having been driven by autonomy. Right, now, I never had this word really until around about a decade ago when I actually studied counselling. And various expressions of applied psychology. And this term kind of took me a little bit of time to really get my head around and understand. And some people grasp it right away. But to me, it was like a foreign concept. You know, having been raised in quite a controlling, manipulative environment as a child, at the age of 16, I would have said I wanted my freedom, I wanted my autonomy back then, so I joined the military. Oh, the irony. I said I wanted freedom, so I joined the army to be bound by rules for around about 10 years. Autonomy, my interpretation of this, is being in control of what we do and how we do it. Could you imagine being autonomous in your life? I mean, being fully autonomous, where you're completely in control of what you do and how you do it. So when you get up in bed, when you get up and out of bed in the morning, all right, what you commit your day to, it might be the case you are a late starter, you're perhaps an early riser, you might prioritise exercise first thing, then you know you have some work things that you want to do, but they're kind of just like creative things. So things you just kind of love doing and are good at doing, and you know that you're also on some level making a bit of a difference in the world whilst also making money. Sounds like a tall order, doesn't it? I just said, imagine if you were to wake up every morning knowing that what you commit your time to is going to be something that you love, something that you're good at, is something that the world needs and finds value in, and it's also something that generates you money. Wow. Many people would refer to this as freedom in life, where you don't have to give an account of yourself to a boss or a manager or the person who's paying your wages. You are self-sustaining in life. Come on, think about it, right? How many people on various social media platforms today promote freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of this, freedom of that, freedom of blah, blah, blah. And in so many contexts today, freedom gets put in a box, kind of like freedom's only freedom. If one can say what one wants, that's not freedom. It's called containment. All right, if one has to justify why one is saying what one wants to say in life, right? There's a big difference, it seems, between the idea of freedom that many people would say that they want. What's the American dream? I guess everyone's going to have a different interpretation of this. I propose autonomy is one of the greatest goals that we can set our sights towards in life. Let us not waste any time. Let us get this show on the road with a big bang. Let us evaluate the goals and the priorities that you would currently claim to have in alignment with this, where you're in control of what you do and how you do it. Just as a starting point. Well, I'm in my early 40s, I've travelled the world. I'm on my third career, so you might say I've had a bit of life experience. My first career between the ages of 16 and 25, that was military. I then spent a decade working in business development, marketing, sales, business to business. The last decade or so, in fact more than that now, I've been functioning, working, immersed in the world of self-improvement, personal development, modern applied psychology. I've trained just over 500,000 people around the world, made a couple of £1 million through the process, built a couple of successful businesses, a couple of really unsuccessful businesses, and I'm happily married to my wife. We've been married for close to a decade now. Some might say I've been relatively successful, right? Some might say, right, I'm indifferent. I'm just living life to a degree of autonomy. Autonomy is my goal. Kane, are you successful? No, I'm autonomous. I'm autonomous. No one gets to tell me what to do. Why? Because over the last 30 years, I have mastered a skill set. I've worked hard. I've invested into myself. I haven't just been kind of scrimping and saving and trying to kind of get some bargains in my life, i.e. some cheap trainings or some cheap education or get some people to do stuff for me on the cheap. I've invested into myself, seriously. I've invested into my future. I've invested into my marriage. I've invested into my businesses. Right? As I say, some have worked well, some haven't. And all I understand mastery as being is this commitment to ongoing improvement, personal development, personal improvement. I prioritise self-awareness and integrity before all things. Before all things. It's just my standard. It's my standard in marriage, business, relationally, socially, professionally. And purpose. My life is on purpose. My life has been on purpose for the last decade. My life wasn't on purpose in my 20s or in my teens, right? But from probably my late 20s, early 30s, my life suddenly came on purpose. Once my life was on purpose, then it was easy to identify the skill sets that I needed to master and really develop and upskilling. And it was only then through the process of kind of developing mastery that I went on to experience this autonomy that I've talked about. And this has only been in the last couple of years. There is no... a lot of people go through life pursuing the quick fix, get-rich-quick schemes and all that kind of stuff. And I know that's not why you're here. I'm just using that as an example. Some people kind of have an idea of what that kind of ideal life would look like and fall into this basket of thinking that there's maybe some sort of elevator that we can just kind of step into that will just take us right up there to this penthouse apartment of life, where life is just kind of ideal. And the truth of the matter is, there's no such elevator. All right, there's just stairs. There's just hills and mountains to climb. And I share all this with you, not to impress you, but more to impress upon you the importance of establishing a vision for our life. All right? Our purpose, our sense of purpose in life is when we're committed towards working towards something worthwhile, something that makes our life make sense. For example, what's my purpose in life? Did someone give me a purpose? Did my purpose kind of drop out of the sky? Did an angel come and appear to me on an evening and do a tap dance on my bed and say, Kane, this is your life purpose? Of course not. My purpose was my decision. Right? And this is where many people fail, because they think that our purpose in life comes through some sort of major life epiphany, or through some sort of flash dance, or Jesus or God, or some sort of angel comes down from the heavenlies and just presents it to us in a gift wrapped box, and it's nonsense. All right. We all have an experience of life, right? We all have a history, we all have a past, and it's in making sense and making peace of this past, what's led us to here, that can give us a sense of purpose and direction for our future. Because the beautiful truth here is this: there's a pretty good chance that you've made some mistakes in life. Am I right? Unless you're one of those kind of perfect individuals who, obviously just is more about kind of criticising other people's efforts and products and services and things like that. Maybe you're just one of these critical individuals. Or maybe you're one of those humble individuals who acknowledges, right, I don't have it all together. There's some room for improvement in my life. I've actually kind of made some serious, major mistakes. So this leads us to another choice. We can look at the mistakes that we've made. We can look at the quality of the conditions of our life today, and it may be where we want it to be, or it may not be. If it's not where we want it to be, we can feel sad about this, which is what many people do, then end up kind of rolling around in the world of mental health and ailments and disorders for years. Or we can say, right, okay, so my life conditions aren't where I want them to be. I've made some poor decisions, not because I was stupid, not because I was bad, not because of any of these reasons. I was just naive. I just didn't know what I didn't know back then. I just didn't have any degree of clarity or a sense of purpose for my future. And the beautiful thing is, I spent most of my 20s in this place, having left this kind of military career. I spent then 10 years trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. And I lost 10 years of my life. Because I had no sense of clarity or no sense of direction, I ended up succumbing to alcoholism, drug addiction, gambling, you name it. I went on self-destruct for years and winded up broke, winded up homeless, financially destitute, relationally destitute, completely socially isolated, stranded on the other side of the world. I guess some people might say that, life can't get much worse. So I did have my health, which was great, but, I just about lost that as well at one point. So what I'm saying is, having come from this place of rock bottom, right, I understand that many people in life will not change anything about the way in which they live their lives until their desire to change becomes greater and more robust than their need to remain as they are and not change. Does that make sense? All right. Some people are stubborn. Come on, why should I change? I don't see why I should change. I just think that life should be easy. And as I say, there's a pretty good chance some people who have taken this attitude towards life, and it does not work. It doesn't work at all. So it's our experiences in the past, if we're willing to kind of just make peace with them, take a little bit of time to understand them, that can actually point us in the direction of where it is that we could go. Some people see challenge and hurdles and obstacles in life as kind of like a full stop. These terrible things have happened to me. Full stop. My life is over. This person said no to me. Full stop. No one's ever going to love me. I failed at business once. Full stop. I'm a failure in life. And this is one of the most detrimental mindsets that we can succumb to. All right? Because the truth of the matter is, what doesn't kill us can only make us stronger, which means that if you have experienced hurdles, challenges, delays, rejections, whatever, rather than looking at them as full stops, instead we can just refer to them as commas as we step into the next chapter.